Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Right, okay, so this is the second round draw for the 26th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. Last time we started with 37, I believe, if I recall. It was a couple of weeks back, but I'm pretty sure it was about 37. And this time we're down to just 16 because the wheel was pretty mean last week, or a couple of weeks back, I should say. So just to remind ourselves who those 16 lucky bastards are. They are Boom Shakalaka, Calfoth, Cheeseball, debuting Homan. So let's see if his first ever run in this game continues or whether it comes to a crashing end here. Cool Hand Puke, Damien Handel 420, Dr. Maxis 2, another debutant, film and MMA. Again, let's see if he can carry on his little streak. Both the debutants got lucky in the first round. Let's see if they'll get lucky again. It's your boy SB, our current champion, still in this. Um, Knife Rusty, Mule Floyd, Schwer Industry, Tyson Magamainov, the MMA historian, Ubermatch, and ex-con Chris. So those are the lucky bastards still in it. And just go back to the main page here. For this round, we have I have to keep reminding myself it's only a fight night. It looks like a pay-per-view, doesn't it? Saudi Arabia, Adesanya at the top, but no, it is only a fight night, but a very stacked one at that. So Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. Uh, and well, it's obviously Israel Adesanya's this is his first real this is his first fight since his defeat to Dricus du Plessis in his failed attempt to get his belt back. And so this is, I suppose, his first fight in a long time where he's been a contender, not fighting for a belt. I've no idea how many fights it's been where Adesanya's been in there and there's not been a belt on the line. So this is the first time for a while he's gone back down a level, so to speak. Um, Having said that, he is still elite level. And to be honest, at middleweight, Strickland and Duplessis are really the only ones I can see beating him. Perhaps Robert Whitaker on his night, but I'd still favour Adesanya in that one. But as for Nasruddin Imavov, he's gone on an impressive little streak, but he's like I say, same win over Cannonier like Israel Adesanya does, and also got a good win over Brendan Allen as well. So he's emerged as one of the top contenders recently, but personally, I still think Adesanya is going to get the better of him. I wouldn't necessarily say that the level is so great that Adesanya is going to necessarily knock him out or really destroy him, but I think it'll be like a lot of his title fights where he just sort of cruises to a very easy unanimous decision. And that's what I'm expecting here tonight, or well, in 12 hours anyway, which I'll be stuck at work for, which I always am on Saturdays when I have a fight night in Saudi Arabia, which I love that. But anyway, you're not here to listen to my personal gripes about my personal life or rambling on about who's going to beat who or who might not beat who or whatever. You're here to see who you're going to get drawn with in the Lucky Bastard game. So just make sure I'm actually on the wheel page. I've had a few problems setting this thing up already. This is the first time I've got it stable and working. So let's get going. First is Boom Shakalaka. And now I'm stuck back on the Excel sheet when I was just checking that. So just bear with me a couple of seconds and it will be, there we go. Boom Shakalaka. Face the wheel. In your own time wheel. There we go. It wasn't so difficult, was it? He gets, I think that's on Terence McKinney. Just wait for it to pop up to confirm. But yep, Terence McKinney for Boom Shakalaka. Uh, McKinney. There we go. That is not how we spell McKinney, but whatever. Anyway. Uh, anyway, it's a good start. I've got Terence McKinney to win this one by third round knockout specifically. Um, Obviously won by a spectacular head kick knockout over Esteban Rubovic in his last fight, and always a very entertaining to fight, a fighter to watch. Up against Damir Hadzovic is again is another entertaining fight. It's his last fight, he is coming off a loss, but again, that's against Mark Diakese, who I do quite rate, probably a little bit higher than I should, maybe, but I do rate him, so I'm not going to hold that loss against him too much. Also wins over Yancy Medeiros before that, so he's a solid fighter, but I'd just say McKinney's just slightly a few places above him in terms of ability and overall skill level. I can see McKinney dominating the first two rounds really, and then there's I think it just in the third it would just be a little bit too much for Hadzovic. Maybe he can hold on till the end, but I think as McKinney's just going to be a little bit too tough for him. But anyway, that is a good draw in my opinion for Boom Shakalaka, who got very lucky last time. He ended up with oh fuck, what was his name? Well, anyway, he's massive underdog. The guy that was fighting, oh for fuck's sake, how have I forgotten that already? The guy that was fighting Peyton Talbot. Oh fuck's sake. Oh, anyway, he's lucky to be in this round, and he's got a much easier journey this time around. Fuck me, that's going to annoy me though. The guy, who the fuck was it? The guy that beat Peyton Talbot. Have I already forgotten that name? Oh, I should not record these videos at like 1:30 in the morning. Fuck me. Anyway, Calforth up next. That is going to annoy me until I can Google that. Calforth here. Anyway, face the wheel. And he gets Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think that's pronounced as. Probably not. Funny enough, she's also one of the fighters in our Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Fame. Again, off the top of my head, I can't recall who she won it for. But she is in that group. I think there's a couple of people on this card actually. Has Asanya's in the group, and then there's also Thomas Peterson as well. So there's a couple of our, I think it's three of our Hall of Famers for this game in it. Anyway, as for this fight, anyway, I reckon she's going to get another win, another decision win, fairly easy one at that. Having said that, she's up against Mayo Bueno Silva, who one, I don't think Bueno Silva is on the same skill level as Jasmine. I massively, massively respect her because she had that really bad cut in her last fight versus Macy Chiasson. And that was one of, if not the worst cuts I've ever seen in MMA, let alone the UFC. And fighting through that is just incredible. So I got a massive, massive amount of respect from Mayo Bueno Silva for that. And to be honest, I hope she wins this. I'm rooting for her, but I think with my brain it's yeah, I'm going with Jasmine Jasudavicius for this one. Right, so there's two that I reckon are going to get their wins, and yeah. So anyway, also first, while I give it a shout out, actually, there's something else I was going to mention if that one fight came up. This, I believe, could be wrong, but I believe this is the first women's fight in Saudi Arabia, first MMA women's fight. Certainly first UFC fight, and so a little bit of history being made there as well. Cheeseball next to face the wheel. Let's see who Cheeseball winds up with. Just close that advert. Hate when adverts pop up. Never used to have adverts on it. Anyway, Cheeseball is here. Face the wheel. Once the wheel loads properly, here it goes. Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Jairzinho Rosenstruik there for Cheeseball. Jairzinho Rosen Struik, I think. Yes, I'm fairly high up the card. This one, the sort of tertiary main event, as I unofficially called it, against Sergey Pavlovich, and that's going to be a hell of a fight, actually. I can see that one ending quickly. Specifically, though, I can see it ending quickly in favour of Sergey Pavlovich because he's had obviously a tough loss to Tom Aspinall, and then obviously, then last time out he lost against Alexander Volkov. But those are two great fighters that he's lost to. So again, I'm not going to hold him too much, hold those ones against him too much. And before that, he was going on an absolute tear through the heavyweight division, just knocking out everybody that stood in front of him. And to be honest, I don't think he's really changed all that much. I think he is going to still be the kind of fighter that maybe he's not elite level, maybe he'll struggle against the top fives of the division, but he can stop anyone below that, I'll say. And yeah, I reckon he's good enough to catch Rosenstreich with something maybe ends as spectacularly as Rosenstreich's loss against Francis Ngannou did, but I don't know. It's going to be a spectacular knockout. I mean, having said that, Rosenstreich's got power himself. He could easily end it the other way if Pavlovich overcommits too much. So that's probably Cheeseball's best hope for this one. Anyway, having said that, Rosenstreich also on a 2-fight win streak, actually. Gazaev and Tuivasa. Don't quite rate those ones quite as highly as Pavlovich's ones. Anyway, moving on to the next one for a waste too much time. It's Common. Let's see if this little let's see if he can gets two. Let's see if Lightning Strikes twice. That's the phrase I was thinking of. Rounds. Here's Common versus the Wheel. Oh, and there we go. The guy I've just been rambling about, Sergey Pavlovich. Sergey Pavlovich. So, Pavlovich. I'm so bad at spelling. Yeah, so as I've just said, really, I reckon Pavlovich is going to get a first round knockout for this one. Obviously, as I mentioned, he's got to be careful not to overcommit too much against Rosenstreich, who's obviously no, he's not exactly a heavyweight bum himself or anything. He's a very solid top 10, I would rate him as. I don't know what the UFC rankings officially say because I pay no mind to them, but I put him in the top 10. Or if not, then just outside of it. But in this little head-to-head, Cheeseball versus Common, I do think Common's going to get be the one to get his hand raised, or Pavlovich getting his hand raised on Common's behalf in that one. But with heavyweights especially, it's unpredictable. So good luck to both of you. May the best or most brutal one win. Let's just hope it's an entertaining fight above all else. Right, okay, we've got Cool Hand Puke next up to face the Wheel. Let's Puke. Now he gets Jamal Pokes. Jamal Pokes there for Cool Hand Puke. My computer's so fucking slow. Jamal. There we go. First fight on the card up against Hamdi Abdelwahab, who I just do not rate at all, to be completely honest. Okay, so Jamal Pokes mostly gets decisions. Which is quite rare for a heavyweight, to be honest. It's he's got decent stamina for a heavyweight, or certainly by a lower ranking heavyweight. And far more experience. Is 11-4 against Hamdi Abdul Wahab, who's officially 3-0. Realistically, he's actually between other sports, bare knuckle, grappling, amateur. He's actually like 12 or 13-0, something like that. But his fights where he wins them within a matter of 20 seconds. Most are under a minute in the first round. So he's got that deadly KO power, but Mal Pokes is good enough, certainly good enough to last more than a minute. He's not going to be an absolute idiot to brawl with him within the first minute. He did go the distance against Dontail Mayers in his last fight, but got a split decision win in that one, but also got turned over to a no contest because he popped for Peds. He found to be a cheat. So not a great way to start your UFC debut, is it? No contest because you're popping for Peds. If I was Dana, I'd have just cut him after that, but whatever. Anyway, So yeah, a little bit of personal bias there. I'll acknowledge that because I just don't rate Abdul Wahab at all. But Jamal Hogue's by decision. At the very least, he could finish him if Abdul Wahab gasses out. I can't really see him gassing out too much, especially if he's on the sauce again. But yeah, Jamal Hogue's by decision. Feeling fairly comfortable in that one. And I'd expect Sequel and Puke in the next round. Damien Handel, 420, next to face the wheel. Got that going eventually. That's becoming one of my personal favourites. Vinicius Oliveira. Right, so obviously bantamweight fight, fourth from the top against Saidman Magomedov. Even though I have just said that Vinicius Oliveira is becoming one of my favourite fighters, and it's true he is, but I do reckon Saidman Magomedov's going to get a win. By second round submission specifically. Most of his wins have come by either a sub or by going the distance. So it's definitely more dangerous on the ground than Oliveira is. But Oliveira does have more. I'd rate his stand-up game as maybe slightly better than, say, Magomedov's, but I think the difference in quality in the ground game is what's going to make the difference. Magomedov's going to look to take this to the ground, and he will, in my opinion. I think he won't have too much trouble in finding the takedown, getting the game to the mat, and finding a submission eventually. So I'm not overly confident in that pick personally. But good luck to Damien anyway. Let's move on there with Dr. Maxis 2. I wonder what happened to the original Dr. Maxis. Who knows? Being paired with Jamal Pokes as well. So that's 2 riding on the Jamal Pokes train as well. It's Coolhand Puke and Dr. Maxis 2 now. And yeah, as I say, don't really. Obviously, I have mostly picked him simply because I don't rate Hamzy too much. But like I say, even if it wasn't for the whole issue with his pets and the fact that he doesn't have too much time in the cage because he finishes his fights so quickly, which I suppose is strength really, but he's missing out on ring experience. There's no denying that. But Pogues also previously fought in the LFA, came through the Contender Series as well. So, yeah, I think Pogues is as long as he doesn't do anything reckless, yeah, he should win. I can't see any reason why he shouldn't. So, I reckon that's a free ticket for Dr. Maxis 2 into the next round. Okay, next we have the second of our debutants, Film and MMA. So let's see if his little streak can continue. Or will the wheel be nasty to our... yeah, he's going to be nasty. That is such a dick move from the wheel. Anyway, right, Hamzi Abdul Wahabuda. Hamzi Abdul Wahab for Film and MMA. So that's the first fight on the card, fast becoming the unofficial Lucky Bastard Game main event with Film and MMA up against Dr. Maxis 2 and Cool Hand Puke. And I can't. There's only so much I can talk about this fight, really, isn't there? Especially when your opponent only has 3 professional MMA fights to speak of. Yeah, I reckon Jamal Pogue's going to win that, and that's yeah, not much I can add to that other than that. In my opinion, Abdel Wahab just does not belong in the UFC. But here we go. He is, and he's fighting Jamal Pogues, and I reckon he's going to lose. That's the reality we live in. Welcome to UFC 2025. Anyway, on to our current champion. It's your boy SB. Let's see who the Will is going to store for this champion. Is the Will going to try and knock out our champion in this round, or is he going to be Okay, the wheel loves this first fight, doesn't it? Jamal Pogues again, so that's now 3v1. Jamal Pogues for it's your boy SB. I mean, he's making the video go quick because I can't ramble too much about the same fight over and over. maybe the Will's doing this to get me to shut the fuck up. So that's probably the reason. Let's be honest. Anyway, yep, that's another one onto the winning side of that first fight. I'm gonna look like a right fucking tis if Abdul Wahab actually does win. But wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, so that's 3v1 there. Moving on to Knife Rusty, and let's see, is he going to get Jamal Pokes as well? Is he going to get Abdul Wahab? Oh no, he gets a new one, another head-to-head. Damir Hadzovic, Knife Rusty. So yeah, I see. Nice phonetic spelling on that one. Yes, so that puts him up against who was it that had who was it as his opponent? Terence McKinney. Where's this gone now? Who had Terence McKinney earlier? Oh yes, Boom Shakalaka. So another little head-to-head to keep an eye on. And as I've mentioned, I do favour McKinney on that one, or in that one rather, not on that one. Uh, but yeah, no, Hadzovic is a tough fighter, but I think, as I've mentioned before, McKinney's going to be a little bit too tough, too much of a step up. I mean, he's probably the right step up, to be honest. I can't really think who else you should match him up with, but and it is a good fight, and it is, I suppose it's winnable, but he certainly shouldn't be the favourite. I haven't checked out the odds for this one, but I would have McKinney as a fairly moderate favourite. But yeah. Anyway, it's MMA. Maybe you can go either way. So maybe, and it wouldn't be the biggest upset of all time if Hadzovic did win this, but I think McKinney's just got he's slightly higher level skill set than Hadzovic does. Okay, Mule Floyd is next to learn his fate. Let's see who Mule Floyd is going to be paired with. I thought it was going to be another one for Hamdi Abdul Wahab there. That actually loads. Or maybe it'll fly onto Bogdan Grad. Who knows? No, it looks like it stopped on Lucas Alexander. Yeah, Lucas Alexander there. So I can only apologise for how fucking slow this thing is running tonight. Lucas Alexander for Mule Floyd. Right, so where are we? Yeah, second one on the card, up against Bogdan Grad, who I do favour for a second round submission on this one. Bogdan Grad's definitely got a better record and more experience with 14 wins, 2 losses. And whereas compared to Lucas Alexander's 8 wins, 4 losses, Alexander does have more fights in the UFC though. So if you're going on the theory of iron sharpening iron, he's fought better opposition. He's 1 and 2 in the UFC, and he wouldn't have fought the highest level opposition, but it's still better than what they're offering up on the regional scene. But in both of those 2 losses, he did get finished, once by sub, once by KO. But you know, it's part of my thinking of why he's gone with for a sub with Bogdan Grad. But again, Bogdan Grad's been quite well rounded. He's not really a specialist in any one thing. He's got a mix of wins by KO, submission, and decision wins. So he's a mixed bag, really. I suppose there's not really any reason why I should have gone with him by sub over, say, a KO, but probably it's probably easier for him to try and get a submission onto Alexander than it would be to try and land on him. I suppose that's my only slight reasoning for that. But having said that, I'm just with Bogdan Grad, I'm mostly just going off what I've seen of him in his 2 contender series fights, which one he lost, one he won. But we'll see. I might learn a bit more about him tomorrow night. Anyway, we're making his UFC debut, and I think he'll get off to a winning start there, which obviously is not what Mule Floyd would have wanted to hear. All right, down to the last 5 now. We have Schwer Industry up next. Get rid of that other advert there. I suppose I shouldn't complain too much. I suppose it's minor annoyance to put up with. Yeah, he gets three with Shamil Gaziev there. And another fighter, another heavyweight. Seems to be a few heavyweights on this card, isn't there? Uh, oh, only three. Okay, I thought there was more than that. But anyway, Gaziev is one of them. And I've got him to win by second round knockout against one of our Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Famers, Thomas Peterson. Um, Gaziev, 13 wins, one loss. Uh, let's see, he went the distance with Don Tail Mayers, who's one of my fast becoming one of my favourite prelim fighters. Also, the guy that Abdul Wahab had to stick a needle in his ass to beat. And yeah, like I say, he's fairly well rounded by heavyweight standards. So I reckon I wouldn't be too surprised. I am still on the hype train. I suppose it's not really a full steam ahead hype train for him, but yeah, I do rate him. And a few more fights under his belt, I reckon within I'd say 5 years' time, he's going to be up there, in the top echelon of the heavyweight division. I think it's just a case of still needs a few more fights to build him up to that level. Certainly a few, well, more than a few more, but I mean a few more years. If he fights something like maybe 2 times a year for the next 5 years or so, then no reason why he won't be one of the best heavyweights at some point in the not too distant future. Um, Thomas Peterson, he's looked decent to be fair to him. He's not, I wouldn't say the best heavyweight, but that win against Muhammad Usman was impressive. And I say LFA as well, which I do rate. I do quite enjoy LFA's shows. So again, I am biased towards anyone that comes up through LFA into the UFC. Uh, Partly just because of slightly more familiarity, but I can't eliminate that. If I've watched a fighter before, I'm going to be more biased towards them. All I can do is just acknowledge it. But at the moment, I wouldn't say Peterson is quite on the same level as Gaziev yet. Uh, so yeah, second round knockout there for Shamil Gaziev. Um, so obviously for Schwer Industry, not quite what you'd have wanted to hear from me, but I could very well be wrong. Who knows? Tyson Magamanov is next to face the wheel. Let's see, who's he going to be paired with in about 11 hours' time or thereabouts with the earliest start time? And he gets one of our main eventers, the former middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya, or former two-time middleweight champion, due to him and Alex Pereira passing parcel with the belt. But anyway, as I said in the I spelled Adesanya. How many times have I spelled Adesanya, and how do I spell it that badly wrong? Anyway, yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I do still reckon his experience with being the champion for that long, he's still one of the elite fighters at middleweights. So there's any I'd say rating him any less than third would be wrong, like objectively wrong. If you had your own rankings of the middleweight division. Um, so still a few spaces above where I'd rank Imavov. But at the moment, is it? I wouldn't say it's too soon though for Imavov. Having said that, because this is probably the next logical fight for him, given their positions in their careers, and they're a hell of a boost for him if he does win. But with these kind of fights, there's always going to be a favourite, and Adesanya should be the favourite for this one. If he isn't, I'll be very surprised. So yeah, comfortable unanimous decision win there for Israel Adesanya in the main event and a comfortable unanimous decision win, I'd say, for Tyson Magamanov. Free ticket to the third round for him, I reckon. Okay, the MMA historian. Which looks like the fate. Definitely that first fight on the card is going to be my or the unofficial main event of the Tapology Lucky Bastard game for this round anyway. What's it, 3-2 now? Something like that. I think it's 3-2. Two with Abdul Wahab and the others on Jamal Pose. And yeah, as I've mentioned several times now, I just do not rate Abdul Wahab, and Jamal Pose should get a very comfortable decision win, in my opinion. So yeah, certainly adds a lot more interest to the first fight on the prelims. So don't tune in late for that one. I mean, I'm going to miss the whole bloody thing from being at work, but do not like these Saudi cards. Such an inconvenient. I mean, it would be a great time zone if it didn't work pretty much all day, every day, Saturdays, but I need to get myself a 9 to 5. Sounds like a cushy life. Anyway, Uber match next to face the wheel. Let's see. This mirror starts spinning a lot faster than I don't fucking know. It doesn't look like a spin there, but whatever. Said Nurmagomedov for Uber match. Nurmagomedov. Who needs that many letters in their name? Right, Said Nurmagomedov still undefeated as well. Co-main events against Michael Venom. No, I'm fuck me. I am looking at. Sorry, ignore me. I'm reading off the wrong fucking thing. I'm looking at Shara Magomedov there, not fucking. I should not record these things in the middle of the night. Anyway, right, Said Magomedov. Sorry, rather. You'll let that be proof I do these videos in one take anyway, because that would have ended up being edited out if I did bother editing these videos. But no, as I've already mentioned, up against Vinicius Oliveira, who, as I enjoy watching him fight, is a more explosive KO artist particularly from his regional team. But Magomedov's just going to be too strong on the ground for him. Oliveira will be able to hold his own to an extent, not quite to the not quite to the extent of maybe being able to take it a distance or find a win via a submission, but or at the very least, I'd be very surprised if he did, as he's much more of a dangerous striker. His best path to victory is obviously trying to find that knockout, obviously, but I just can't see Magomedov having too much trouble avoiding that and eventually getting it to the ground and probably finishing the fight there. And finally is ex-con Chris. Let's see who the wheel decides to end it with once it gets going again. Yep, let's go. Shouldn't I? Anyway, he gets Terence McKinney. It looks like it's going to end on if it has stopped or hasn't yet. Terence McKinney. Terence, as I said before, I do favour McKinney for this one. Third round knockout is just there's another one on that little head to head we got going there with the other guy that had who was it now? Who has Knife Rusty who had Dimir Hedzovic, and I think it was someone else had McKinney, wasn't it? Yep, Boom Shakalaka, I thought it was. So that's another interesting one to keep an eye on a little bit further down the card, a few fights after the unofficial main events. But and ex-con Chris has ended up on the side that I favour for that one. Okay, so that completes the draw, which I'm sure you're all extremely grateful for. No more like-minded singles in our area, no more adverts from Currys, no more freezing and buffering of the wheel. You only get the freezing and buffering due to my well, just fucking stupidness, isn't it? As social ineptness. But anyway, just run through those names one more time, just to familiarise ourselves. Boom Shakalaka with Terence McKinney, Calfoth with Jasmine Jasudavicius, Cheeseball with Jarzinia Rosenstrike, Common with Sergey Pavlovich, Cool Hand Puke with Jamal Pogues, Damien Handel 420 with Vinicius Oliveira, Dr. Maxis 2 also with Jamal Pogues, Film and MMA with Hamdi Abdul Wahab, It's Your Boy SB, the reigning champion, also with Jamal Pogues, Knife Rusty with Damir Hadzovic, Neil Floyd with Lucas Alexander, Schwer Industry with Shamil Gaziev, Tyson Magomedov with Israel Adesanya, the MMA historian of Hamdi Abdul Wahab, Uber match with Said Nurmagomedov and ex-con Chris with Terence McKinney. So that completes the draw for the second round draw of the 26th edition now of the Lucky Bastard game. And all that leaves me to say is good luck with this for all you left in it. Good luck you got any bets on this card. Good luck with your picks on Tapology. And, well, until next time, we'll see how many of you are left. There'll be a few of you, for sure, in the third round. But until next time, so long for now.